to a brand new episode of the Litecast here on the CF After Dark Network. I am Austin Keeney. I'm joined by Matt Nelson. A little late in the week, a little Thursday night Litecast for you guys. Record Thursday night. It'll
right.
be on Friday in your feeds. But Matt, how we doing, man? It's good to talk. Didn't have you last week, so got to get back in the regular flow here. What's going on?
Little late in the week, little late at night, Keeney. Watching the Wild and the Dallas Stars.
You're
Fighting
getting
for
into
home
hockey
ice
now?
in the playoffs. Yeah, Keeney, the playoffs are like 2 weeks away. We got like 4 or 5 games left. So
Yeah, that means I got like 2 weeks
can
until
read
I
the
start
John
watching
Boyce
hockey,
tweet.
to be honest.
It's the John Boyce tweet, right? Playoff hockey. You don't need to watch it. You could just snort cocaine and jump out of a helicopter on a motorcycle.
Yeah, see, I'll be there in 2 weeks if that's when the playoffs start.
You're not locked. You're okay. You're not locked in on the regular season. Understood.
Not regular season, I got to say. No, I've been watching a decent amount of regular season baseball to start, though.
Same. The Twins are a game over 500, 4-game sweep of the Tigers. So I mean, maybe we'll have fun baseball to talk about this year, Keeney. Who knows?
We'll see, man. This Cubs season's kind of been a disaster so far, to be honest.
Speaking of disaster, the Boston Red Sox. Yikes.
Oh, boy. This is speaking of disasters, technology, Matt. It's not working in your favor right now.
Looks fine on my end, Keeney. Who do we blame here? Who's throttling? Is it Ben McCollum? Is Ben McCollum throttling our internet?
It's Ben McCollum. No, I think it's always Jamie Pollard that likes to mess with our stuff. So
that's right.
Where do you want? I mean,
we got to start on the portal. We got to start on the portal, right? We jumped right into baseball of all things. That's
right.
My fault. I brought it up.
Well, you brought hockey. Cubs pitchers are hurt. All of them. Nobody can hit.
every single one of them.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like right now. So tough start, but it's early. I still get to say it's early. Transfer portal, Matt. This is a great place to start. So, I mean, where we are, I guess we didn't talk last week, so we didn't talk about the end of the season for you. But we've seen a lot of activity in the portal. I mean, Iowa State thankfully hasn't had a ton of attrition. If we talk about guys that are entering, maybe we start there. A little breaking news today on Thursday, April 9th, as we record this. Mason Williams enters the portal after not actually playing for Iowa State. How are you feeling about this? Are you bummed? Did you want to see him? I mean, it's kind of expected that he was going to go, but it's still kind of a bummer that we just never got to see what he had.
Yeah, it's crazy that, 1 minute you have the guy who took his helmet off and swung it at Myles Garrett on your team, and the next season the portal. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Mason Rudolph. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my bad, Keeney. I was wrong sport. I mean, we never saw him. You felt like you were expecting him to be probably the backup point guard. I didn't think he'd enter the portal, Keeney, just from a tape perspective. Well, you're going to go back 2 years now and look at his film from Eastern Washington with him sitting on the bench or on the scout team all offseason. But we don't know, Keeney. Could be one of those things where the coaching staff said, hey, like we think you'd get more playing time elsewhere. That didn't used to happen 10 years ago and now happens pretty regularly in this modern era with free portal movement. Why would you sit on the bench when you could go somewhere else where you could maybe start? So if I had to guess, that's probably what
crystal ball for San Diego or UNI.
San Diego. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in right now. Yep.
All right. I'm going to put my crystal ball for Cade Kelderman on UNI. This kind of feels like I'm leaving because I want to get a chance to get minutes on the court in my last year of eligibility. So yes. Cade, I think we just tip your cap.
We wish you well.
Great Cyclone. Right.
Yep.
Played in a pinch when we really needed him to. You know what?
Never forget when he made an and 1-3 against Lipscomb. Never forget. You've already forgotten.
Wish him all the best at whatever.
You've forgotten. I haven't.
Whatever mid-major he plays at next year, I wish him all the best.
You're already excited to watch him in Arch Madness next year?
Are you excited to watch Arch Madness next year with Hendo at Drake and Kyle Green at UNI?
Okay, I might have a little
hell?
More, yeah, I might have a little more interest, but I mean, rooting for the court to collapse and both teams to just sink into a giant sinkhole.
We'll get into
So
players.
Kelderman,
Talk about Kyle Green leaving either. So like,
no.
how do you
Man,
feel about the
things
Panther
move
Hawks
fast in the offseason.
picking up an Iowa State assistant there?
He is returning home, right? Like it's a good hire for you and I, honestly. If you're an Iowa State fan, I think what you've got to cheer for with these players leaving is it only helps Otts in the long run, right? To spread your wings from a coaching standpoint and kind of populate the league with your assistants. Because what it shows, right, is for up and comers that, oh my gosh, like if I put in 2 years picking up TJ style, odds are I'm going to get a chance at a high major job, right? And like with JR, we knew JR was going to be very highly sought after, even going back a year or two ago. With Kyle Green, it was kind of assumed that he maybe wanted to be head coach. And I don't know, man, could you script Ben Jacobson going to Utah State after all this time? I don't think so. So don't really blame Kyle for taking that opportunity. I think it's a great spot for him.
Yeah, you want to show that the pathway to a head coaching job could be working for TJ Otzelberger. So
right.
It's a good sign of health of the program. It sucks to lose two guys, especially two defensive guys at the same time. But it does show that the program's healthy and that Otzelberger tree is starting to branch out a little bit. Greg McDermott retires. Otz is a McDermott guy. Now guys are going downstream from there, getting head coaching jobs cross country. So let's pivot here. Let's talk about like incoming transfers. So we've had some some news here.
What, 2 out? Two out is all, right? That's all we're expecting to leave, correct? In the portal. That's the word on the street anyway.
I guess how much of a Momcilovic discussion do you want to have right here? Because we don't. We admittedly don't know a ton of what's going on behind the scenes, but we know that there's something happening where.
Okay, so
TJ doesn't. I think Chris Williams said it on Two Guys, so I feel comfortable saying it here. Like TJ doesn't want to get caught in an AJ Green situation where you got a guy that you're going to commit a lot of money to, and you're not sure if he's coming back or not, and you have money that needs to get spent to put a roster together.
Right. I think looking at who's coming to campus this weekend and who they've retained, Keeney, it's pretty clear how they're planning. And I'm going to go ahead and lay this out. And I don't think we're breaking any news because we don't know anything. And I think there's a good chance that he is back. But it looks like with the pieces that they've brought in, they're recruiting as if he won't be on the roster. Now, I don't want that to get aggregated or anybody to pick that up. I just think if you look at the number of forwards and small forwards that, and Xavier Mitchell staying on the roster, Keeney, who is a wing, it tells me that they're maybe they want to be prepared for that eventuality. I think it would be foolish if they didn't do that, Keeney. If you want to get caught flat-footed here in 2 weeks once the portal closes with, a kind of a roster spot not filled, like that's not a good spot to be in. So, I think honestly, you have to just assume that it's a huge bonus if he comes back. And if you're Otts, you've got to try to build a good team either way. That's not a cop-out answer, Keeney. I think that's legitimately what the coaching staff is doing. Is that kind of
how you feel? I have my personal beliefs there of how at the end of the day, players got to make the call, but I think we got to be doing everything we can to retain Momcilovic. The team is going to be better,
and they are going to do so, right?
Right. Like they're not going to pick up anybody from the portal that makes them better next year than having Milan out there. No. So, that's the tough thing about college basketball in 2026, is you got money to spend. You got to put your roster together. And for guys like Milan that are kind of in limbo, maybe you want to go start your professional career now. Maybe you want to come back and maximize your earnings from one more year in college. But those timelines just don't line up. The portal is going to close for the deadline to come in or leave the NBA draft.
Yeah, I know Bloom's talked about it too. I think the one benefit, Keeney, is that it used to be back in the day to get any sort of money, you had to go to the draft and go to the G League or a D League, we called it at the time, or go overseas, right? If you're thinking about like Lindell Wigington getting in the draft, et cetera. But it's changed. Like Lindell couldn't make what Momcilovic could make this next year coming back. So I think if you're an ISU fan, that's got to give you some hope that there is a pathway to where he could stay simply because of how the money's changed in this sport. So I think it'll come down to, landing spot, round, what that contract looks like. And I'm curious, Keeney, what the evaluators say about him. He's already considered a little old, NBA wise. I think his athleticism is pretty good, but it's not anywhere near what you'll see every night in the NBA. I'll just be very curious to hear what their opinion is. My guess is, with as much, tape as there is on him, and how many high profile games he played this year, that it can't be that hard to get evals. Like, I don't think he needs to go to the combine and take visits to 6 programs to get, evals from their scouts. My guess is they can already get a hold of it, but we truly won't know until that announcement comes out. So, do you think it's worth noting? Noted barbecue hater Momchilovich did go to What You Smoking in Luther today, and that picture made the rounds on the internet. So, the tea leaf readers are out here thinking that that's a big sign.
I know that
Listen, man,
you're
I'm
hearing
just
your
reporting.
audio just fine. I'm trying my best here to. I don't know, man. This internet thing, it's not going great tonight. It's not. I didn't know that Milan was a barbecue hater, though.
Barbecue hater. They interviewed him before the first round, and everybody said I think it was KCCI, Keeney, that, oh yeah, you got to go talk to him. It was Kansas City. You got to go talk to Momchilovich. He loves barbecue. And as soon as they asked him, he was like, no, I can't stand it. So it was pretty funny setup.
All right. I don't know. Read between lines a little bit there. Maybe we should talk about the guys that are going to be coming to campus this weekend, though. Guys that we're seriously taking a look at bringing on.
Yeah. only a few of them, right? 5.
5 guys. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Where do you start? Trey Singleton from Northwestern, Leon Bond from UNI, this Prather kid from Robert Morris. I mean, like, who stands out to you as like guys that you really want? Like, if there's a chance to sign on the dotted line and the price is right, you want them committing on the spot. Like, who out of that cluster are you really this guy for next year?
Well, okay, so there's 2 that really intrigue me, just because one is, I think, what the portal kind of forces you to do. The other is just like a perfect odds player. So the first is actually Taj Manning from K-State. And I'm going to take this a different direction. I think Singleton is the one you probably want the most. Him or Bond, Keeney, I think would make the biggest impact right away. But Keeney, I think bigs have gotten really expensive in the portal, like crazy expensive. And Manning's stats aren't terrific. He put in 3 years at Kansas State, but he's a big body. I mean, he's like a 7 and 5 guy, got a lot of rebounds. He barely played at K-State, like 15 minutes a night, I think, most nights. I think that's just what, Keeney, if you need a backup forward in your Iowa State, you've maybe got to flip over some stones to find one. I think any sort of starting caliber forward in the portal right now, with how much size impacted the tournament, it seems to me like schools are overpaying. So if you're surprised by that one, clearly they've seen him and they've got tape on him, right? Otts has played against him for 3 seasons. And it seems like a motor rebound guy that they're hoping. Sure, the pitch to him is we'll give you a little bit more minutes on a better team, right, than what he got at K-State. So to me, if you're wondering, like, I just don't think you're going to see a crazy high caliber forward go to anywhere outside of the very top end schools with the most money, based on the craziness that we saw here over the last couple of weeks in the tournament. The other one that I love is Jaquan Johnson. Kenny, do you know how tall he is?
I know he's not big. He's listed at like 5'11", right?
5'11".
This is the guard from Bradley. Yeah.
Yes. And he's 5'11", but like built like a brick shithouse 5'11". Defensive player of the year in the Valley. When you watch his tape, dude, CW does pest of the game. This guy should have gotten like pest of the year in the Missouri Valley. He's quick. He's disruptive. I think at one point I heard he was top 10 in the country in steals during the regular season. Good shooter. On his tape, still tried to get to the rim and kind of had some of the same crafty finishes I think you saw from Lipsy. I mean, this is your typical Otts wants somebody who can just abuse ball handlers, who's quick, who's going to get steals. Height be damned, doesn't really matter. That's what he's after there. I think he would probably split pretty even minutes with Torre if he commits. Keeney, he is one of the higher sought after players, at least from the Valley. And Bradley was good. They were a good team, and he was a huge part of it. So I love that addition if he signs, because you're going to need another point guard to spell Torre with the way he guards, and you're going to bring in probably another just as good of an on-ball defender as he is. I think, believe it or not, that's actually really important. We saw that with
real quick on Jaquan Johnson.
We saw that with Lipsy and Torre
points a
playing
game
together.
at Bradley last year.
Was it that many? 17?
Yeah,
wow.
38% from 3, 78% free throw line. Like, he's undersized, but
right,
he put the ball in the basket.
And he's not. Remember Tyler Harris? He's not like, or Jackson Pavletsky. He's not like weighs 140 pounds undersized. He's just short. If you were to look at pictures of him, like, he's built. He's got big arms, big shoulders. Like, he's pretty. You can tell he's pretty strong. So, I just think that type of point guard, Keeney, is crucial for what Otts wants to do. You got to have a guy like that who's willing to play nasty defense at the point of attack. And I mean, I'm thrilled about him. I think Prather's intriguing. I'm curious what what your thoughts are on the other three. Feels like Trey Singleton's the one they really want, right?
He's probably the highest ceiling guy because he's only going to be a sophomore next year, eligibility wise. I mean, you look at the stats that don't blow you off the page at Northwestern, but you look at like the measurables on Trey Singleton. I'm going to pull him up real quick here as well. 6'8",
his tape is
15.
His tape's really fun. He can handle the ball.
Like, he's not
good
going to
rebounder.
jump in and be a Joshua Jefferson replacement, but like measurables wise, I mean, he's well built. He's got good size.
Yeah.
That's it's kind of player that you would hope you can bring in and keep for a couple of years as well. I'm going to tell you, Leon Bond, that's a guy I really hope ends up at Iowa State. I mean, again, what's the thumbs up for?
I think
are you agreeing or?
I'm agreeing. I think he's the best player they're bringing in. Is that crazy?
Well, Kyle Green sleeper cell, send Kyle you and I guys over there. You take our coach.
That's right.
Leon Bond, I think he averaged like 11 points a game at UNI last year. He's he's kind of like a prototype of the type of player that could excel in the Ott system. He's a good defender.
Yeah.
Not a great shooter, but I think he's going to come in and play really good defense if we can get him to commit and like play in the flow of the offense. Not a guy that's going to come in and score 20 points a game at Iowa State next year, but a guy that I think would fit really well with what TJ's trying to do.
I think they need more athleticism on the wing, Keeney, and I think that's why you bring him in. Good defender. I really like the way he plays. I really enjoyed watching him in the tournament in St. Louis. He's a career 35% shooter, roughly. Not a ton of attempts, but a good free throw shooter. Good rebounder for his size too. Just a 6'5" super athletic guy that you can throw out to compete on the glass and be a really aggressive defender. It's perfect for Otts. I think Nate Heisey is not a bad comp. I think Nate was probably a better shooter coming in, but Leon would be more athletic. And I think that's what Otts is looking for, in my opinion. But he's a really good player, man. He's tough as nails. I want to talk about the last one because I'm intrigued by him. Have you watched Prather's tape, the transfer from Robert Morris who's coming in? I've got a really easy comp for that one, Austin. I'm curious if you went the same route.
All right. I'm going to hit pause. Okay. Hey, that would have been a great time for an ad break if we had one, which I guess we are still sponsored by the Iowa Distilling Company. So
we are.
Shout them out real quick. Down in Cumming, Iowa, Prairie Fire, 1858 vodka. You guys know the deal. Great spirits, supporters of the Cyclones. We love it. March Madness might be over, but that doesn't mean you can't go down there and enjoy some time at the Iowa Distilling Company. So, Matt, we were jumping in to talk about Ryan Prather Jr. We are, I don't know what Jamie Pollard's got on you. He's in something
trying to
your house.
throttling my internet. Yeah,
there in Ames. Right. Yeah. All right. Ryan Prather from Robert Morris. He was their leading scorer last year, about 16 points a game. You said you had a comp for him. Is
Curtis
it
Jones. Curtis Jones.
Okay. I will hear you out. I don't know if I see it, but I'll hear you out.
Not as good of a shooter, but when you, in terms of the role, if you look at what his strength was at Robert Morris, it's clear they're bringing him in to not just be a shooter, but to create shots, to come in and be offense. He's 6'5". He's got good size. You watch his tape, unafraid to pull up from three, from mid-range floaters. Like, I don't know what his defense is like, but it's clear that he's got one purpose, and that is to score. Which I think they need a little bit more scoring. I think you hope Torrey can develop a jumper. We've seen it in in flashes. I think Johnson from Bradley is a good 3-point shooter. Bateman's going to continue to shoot well. If Momcilovic is here, you feel good about the outside, but sometimes you just need a guy who can create his own shot. To me, that's what it seems like his role is. So that would be kind of similar to what Curtis did here, but maybe it seems like you don't agree.
I got to be honest, didn't watch Robert Morris tape. So
yeah,
maybe, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, I think we have some breaking news as we are recording tonight. I'm looking for some confirmation here. Okay. All right, we're going to scratch that. I thought we had some Audie Crooks news. I don't know if we have anything official. It's just a lot of speculation. So let's
interesting.
There are people that are kind of trying to connect dots on her going to a certain school, but we're just not going to talk about that yet because we don't have any confirmation. So that's not the business we're in, at least not right now. We're still talking about. I'm sorry, I got distracted by that, but we are talking about more men's targets,
right?
I think the thing with Ryan Prather, all I'm gonna say is like, what level can he defend at? It's a big jump from Robert Morris to the Big 12, so it's not for everybody.
And that's going to be the concern. I love that though. You're trying to take a guy that is going to be a bit instant offense, something I think they needed. This year off the bench, really, you had Heisey, who was more hustle plays, defense. We saw it a few times down the stretch where he did score and looked to score. And then Bateman was really just kind of streaky, a lot of 3-point shots, and would like to see someone that's got a little more shot creation. And I think that's probably his role. Didn't get that from Dom Nelson, right? Dom was only ever a downhill threat. Shout out to Dom, by the way, for trying to get that 5th year and keep the college dream alive one more year.
Tough day for the Dom Nelson commenters.
Yeah,
you hate to see it.
It's over. It's no more Dom Nelson in the chat. Too bad.
He joined. Yeah, he's on the Demarion Watson All-Star team of guys that we constantly question why they didn't play more, even though we know why they didn't play more.
He's on the Pop Isaacs needs to hang it up team. What's that guy doing?
Yeah.
Hasn't he played for 18 years? Didn't he play against Perry Ellis? Get out of here, Pop Isaacs.
I couldn't even tell you where he played last year. So he's
okay. It was in the tournament.
Oh man.
He was in Texas A&M.
Okay. This isn't the existential college basketball is broken, everybody's in the portal pod, because Iowa State's actually retained pretty well on the men's side. Maybe we talk a little bit about the women's portal, but it got real bad last week and
it's not fun. Let's wrap up the men's real quick. There are a few more names that they've been linked to. There's maybe even some people not in the portal yet that they're going to take a pass at. So I would guess though that the group that's on campus, this is clearly their plan A of guys who are the portal today. Is it possible that there's a lurker somewhere that isn't enrolled? Keeney, sure, but I let's hit on the roster real quick because it looks like this is the layout. Say excuse me. Say all 5 of those guys commit. I don't think that's likely. I think they'll get at least 3 of them. TJ's usually pretty good when he gets those guys on campus, Keeney, but you'd have Torrey and Johnson, kind of 1A and 1B. They'll both probably play fair minutes at point guard. You would, assuming Mommy's not on the roster, you would have Bateman at the 2, and Johnson as
This
his
is
backup, maybe vice
screen cap
versa.
time.
I know, screen, seriously, don't aggregate this.
No, Matt,
3,
you just you had you're counting on your
oh,
fingers, and then you had a certain one up there that
oh, I did. Okay,
video
yeah,
pod.
that's right.
You got to remember we're on
Thanks.
video.
We're on video. You'd probably have, so say Momcilovic is there. You'd have Momcilovic and Bond at the 3. If he's not, then you would have Bond, and then I think, you could probably play the Robert Morris kid at the 3, and I expect Christian Wiggins to get some minutes. Right, he's a 6'3" shooting guard, really good player. I'd be shocked if he doesn't play a little bit, and you could see a world where him and Bateman are the 2 that are really getting the minutes at shooting guard. And then at forward, you would have Singleton and Manning, and you'd be set at center with Buchanan and Plato. And so I think that's pretty cohesive. However, I know there's other guys that they're talking to, so I'll be very curious to see who all commits out of this group. And when we hear about it, my guess would be Sunday, probably Monday before we hear about it for sure. But seems like a really good plan for TJ to keep recruiting guys that fit his style and kind of his method of roster construction. I wanted to ask you, Keeney, before we jump to the women. Does seem like there's been some theories on the internet based on who they've been going after and the sheer number of players retained that Otts might be considering lengthening the rotation from the 8 that it was this past year. If you think about where you were at this past year, you didn't get the impact from Dom Nelson. Mason Williams was sidelined when you never expected him to be. And we talked about this in the offseason, Keeney, in the wide right the chat at the time, that you're down a guard with Williams on the shelf, meaning it was going to put more pressure on Torrey and Bateman. In reality, like, one of those guys shouldn't have had to play if Williams is your backup point guard. So you really ran with 8, and Mulder you thought could bring some energy minutes, and outside of the non-conference never really did. Was just kind of an emergency player. It seems to me like he's building this roster towards more 9 or 10 guys playing. We've seen that from teams like Arizona. Do you think there's something to that, or is that yet to be seen?
That's a good question, because I got to be honest, I haven't thought a lot about it. It would make sense to have more bodies available. The thing with the TJ teams have been they've worn down as the year has gone on. If you're not, but I think if you take 5 transfers, you're not. I mean, that's not 5 rotation pieces that you're bringing in necessarily.
No,
because think about who's retained. TJ's shown a willingness to throw freshman guards out there if they're ready. If this Christian Wiggins is ready, he's going to play.
He will play if he's ready. No, there's no question. Yep.
The front court's kind of set. You got Buchanan and Plata, and then you just kind of figure it out from there. I'm not expecting anything out of these freshmen that are coming in next year, but I wouldn't have expected anything from Killian Torrey either. So maybe his buddy is someone who can come in and play, 10 minutes a night. We'll see.
They have really good bones, Keeney, as good as you're going to find. With you basically have your starting point guard, your starting shooting guard, your starting center. You could play both of them if you wanted to and go just really big. So in theory, you have essentially 4 starters on the roster, and that's not including the best shooter in the country, who hopefully is back. Again, I know I said earlier, assume he's not on the roster. Don't screen cap that. We have truly no idea. I actually feel pretty good about him coming back, Austin. If you had asked me today, I would say I would lean towards him being on the team. And if he is, you basically have your starting 5. And you may just be trying to fill in behind it. But I think that's super encouraging because, Keeney, what have we seen in this new era? Teams that retain players do well.
Mm-hmm. Continuity's king.
That's correct. So
Iowa State is in a position where they're going to be a top 15 team in the preseason next year, just based on what's coming back. If Momcilovic comes back, and then you're just kind of adding pieces around. We're not having to build a roster from scratch. We're not having to bring in a guy to be our leading scorer necessarily. So it's a good place to be.
And if you have to turn to Christian Wiggins, great. You're turning to
the Minnesota Player of the Year.
That's correct.
Like a good recruit.
A very good one. Yeah, correct.
It's segue time, Matt. You know who's not in a good place is the women's basketball program. Big topic of discussion in the last week and a half, especially around the future with Bill Fennelly. So they did pick up a transfer today from Kent State, but when you look at what they've lost in the last 2 weeks, Audie Crooks, who should have ended up as the all-time leading scorer at Iowa State. She's gone. Addie Brown, one of the most versatile players in the country, gone. Jada Williams, one of the better point guards in the country, gone. I mean, if I throw a name out there, they're gone. Reagan Littleson, Kenzie Hare, all these
Reese Beatty,
yep, pretty much Alyssa Williams, everyone who should have been a contributor for next year is gone, except for Ariana Jackson. And Paul, she didn't play a ton this year.
She was hurt. She was banged up. I think she's got good defensive value and good size, but just didn't recover from the injury and play as much as we thought she would.
Freya
and
Jensen
Ariana Jackson is great, right? She's a kind of a cornerstone of your program, honestly.
But the thing is, that this wasn't planned for, because the last time there was a mass exodus, there was a big freshman class coming in. And this year, there's not a big class of freshmen coming in.
Nope.
I think it's just Macy Comito, as far as I know. So, I mean, let's face facts. Bill Fennelly is on the back nine of his career. Like, I don't know how many more years he's got left. A lot of people are thinking maybe one, maybe he feels differently. I don't know. Eventually, Jamie Pollard and Bill Fennelly are going to have to come to an understanding about what happens, because you can't turn over your entire roster every year. Like, I don't know, man. It feels like I understand why you can't fire Bill Fennelly. I don't think Bill Fennelly deserves to go out like that, but
I agree.
You're in a rough place when you're 30 something years in and you're starting from scratch and you don't know how much longer Bill plans to go. If he says, I want to coach 5 more years, do you commit to that at this point?
I mean, what do you do? I went back and looked. They've made 19 out of the last 20 tournaments. In a sport where if you're not one of the top 6 programs, that's why it's so easy to fill out a women's bracket, because you know who's going to make the Final Four. You just know. So I think it's totally fine for that to be not just you're not settling to make the tournament 19 out of 20 years. Like, the team east of you had a generational player and still couldn't win a title. It's not good enough.
Maybe where you and I disagree is what's acceptable, and maybe we don't disagree. But it's great to make the tournament every year. It's not great to have a top 10 talented roster and not win a tournament game 2 years in a row.
No. That I agree with. It's just the optics of firing a coach for making 19 out of the last 20 when you have no idea what this new person's going to do. And if this new person comes in and they struggle mightily, then what do you do? I mean, look at Tennessee's program. They were a 10 seed in the tournament and their whole freshman class incoming decommitted and their whole team left. So there's really 3 things going on, right? It's expectations. These teams have not played well down the stretch the last 2 years. I don't know what happened last year. I have a hunch on this year, and I think it was the injuries started it and pried the door open, and I think the team chemistry just seemed off, Austin. We've heard Chris report on it a little bit. It did not look like they were playing for each other basically once the calendar flipped into 26. And yes, that is around when the injury started, and I know that impacted it too. But I don't know if it was having kind of 3 stars on that team where it was just hard to make everybody happy at the same time. If it was playing time, opportunity, I don't know what it was.
There's been a lot of people talking about how, for as great as Audie Crooks is, she kind of dictates the way that you have to play.
Right.
You can only play one way when she's your cornerstone.
And it really kind of exposed the team on defense. Once that West Virginia game happened, Keeney, and somebody put on film that we're going to run pick and rolls 10 feet from the hoop, it was over from a defensive standpoint, right? She did not get exposed defensively that early in the season until you got early on into Big 12 play. And yes, the injuries coincided with that same time period. They're totally related, but yeah, I think it affected everything. And
those 40% 3-point shooters that were surrounding her didn't shoot 40% this year. We didn't shoot very well.
They didn't shoot well. Kenzie didn't shoot well. Sydney didn't. None of them did. So I think some of it's coaching. Like we've seen these late collapses, the fourth quarters where not a single ball goes in the hoop, and we struggle to inbound the ball, struggle turning it over. Like some of that is coaching, but I think it goes even deeper than that. So I think there's several complicated things at play here, right? So like one is, Sweet 16 and 21 made the tournament every year since, but you've had a couple really talented teams that have just slid.
Well, if you
And
even think about
absolute,
21 or 21, 22, when they made the Sweet 16, they lost to a 10 seed in the Sweet 16 game. Like that team just didn't, even that team didn't
yeah,
max out what they should have done.
no,
And that's
yeah,
been the consistent through line is they just haven't maxed
yeah,
out what they've hit their floor. Sure. These teams haven't hit their ceiling in a long time.
yeah. You got to go ways back to find that too. But again, like I saying a Sweet 16 4 years ago and the tournament every year since isn't good enough. Like there are a lot of women's basketball programs that would probably shoot us for saying that out loud. I think it's okay to have expectations, right? But again, Keeney, to your point, it makes it really hard to say, yeah, this person's got to go. And I think for the younger fans, like on Twitter, who say that a lot, that's easy for them to say because they don't have the perspective. And it doesn't mean that, I'm saying that they have too high of expectations. I think they maybe do. That's fine. Like
I think
we
Iowa
all
State
should.
should. I think
We all
Iowa
want
State
to.
should have high
Yeah,
expectations.
we all
Like,
want to win.
Bill Fennelly is the program, but like
Yep.
he's not. The fans aren't going to stop showing up once he retires. Like he has built this thing up to a place where I still think whoever's next, Iowa State's going to have good fan support. Like
yeah, and I think it'll be somebody younger.
Programs that have the type of players that we do and have the type of crowds that we get. It's fair to say we should be a threat to make the Sweet 16 more often than not.
So I agree with all that. In terms of like the other aspect with the transfers, there's two things that are really important. One, in no world could you pay Audie, Addie, and Jada to come back. Not with an open market value of what, probably $2 million between the three plus. They took probably pretty significant pay cuts to be here last year.
I guess it depends on how this over the cap thing works. Like how much of an SEC school's budget is Addie Brown going to take up? If they have $22 million to spend and 18 of that's going to the football team and $1 million of it goes to women's basketball, is she really going to go get $1 million to go play at an SEC school, or is that going to be the over the top cap thing?
So there's a good example. South Carolina, right, who just lost the title game, spends a ton on NIL, right? They still generate a negative $6 million hit for that athletic department. And they get probably one donor just to write the check for that over. Iowa State does not have someone coming to the rescue to write a $6 million check to cover that shortfall. They don't. And that's a team that is in the Final Four every year. So how do you do that at Iowa State?
Could you have done it for a year though? Could you stomach it for 1 year?
You probably
run
could,
it back with these great players who are all seniors. That it's a 1 year stop.
But that probably means going to Sukup or Hy-Vee, whoever, and taking $1 million out of football's pockets, because I don't think you're going to get those companies to fork over another $1.5 million on top of the 3 or 4 they already donate. I think that's
I don't know how much money Fairway paid Audie, but like it's such a perfect sponsorship opportunity there.
Right.
Like they were actually using her in advertisements and
all the time.
They're a Midwestern company. Audie's an Iowa person. Like it makes all the sense in the world, but I don't know. I do think finances were a big thing.
You probably could have done it, but the $3 million, even if it was over the cap, it would probably tap you out at those 3. So the rest of your roster is just going to be wherever the hell else you can throw in there. And then now you're susceptible because someone like Reese Beatty could go get 200,000 somewhere else because you probably can't pay your squad. I think with someone like Reese, it was probably more playing time or opportunity, right? Like I think that's the case with Reagan Wilson, Allie Tankey, take your pick, right? But that's not solely the only thing going on there. But I definitely do think it impacted him. I think they probably could have paid to keep one of them, maybe 2 of them. And it seems to me like it's, again, not just finances that forced all 3 of them out. I do think you can't ignore the fact that those 3 best players had probably a pretty high value on the open market. I guess, Kenny, we'll see when they sign, when Audie signs, when Jada signs, like what they get paid. So I think there's a lot of things that go into that make it really complicated. And you can make the argument with no one on the roster, maybe you cut bait and start over. There's one more year left on his contract, and again, it just doesn't seem like you can do that to somebody who's won this much and basically built this program on his own.
Yeah, well, you're kind of setting yourself up for doing an entire roster teardown in a year anyway. If you think that, okay, Bill's going to coach out the last year of his contract, and then he's going to retire, gracefully, and then you're going to start over anyway. So are you replacing everybody and spending the money to bring in a new team out of the portal this year and then doing it again next year? Because so one thing that I think at this point,
it definitely does save
is fair to say is I don't think Bill should be able to name his successor at this point. Like, I don't think he should have a coach in waiting and say, this is definitely who's taking over for me when I'm gone. I think that Iowa State deserves to, do a nationwide search and find the right person to lead the program, and not just whoever Bill Fennelly says should take over.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to see how that plays out, because I don't know anything about what they've put in place there. You could ask if it's say the next season goes well and he gets like a 1-year deal. Is it Jamie who hires the replacement? Jamie's kind of bumping up against retirement too. And again, I'm not trying to like stir the pot here, but Jamie's also not going to be AD forever, right? Like, I think he's kind of hinted at when Sidetown's done, he's going to retire, and that's sometime in the next 2 to 3 years, most likely. So,
well, it feels like that date keeps getting pushed back, and you're closer to the project than everybody else. But
the Sidetown date definitely does keep getting pushed back. But
it feels like we've got the McFarland Clinic and not a whole lot else right now.
Keenan, no one liked it, but I do the comparison. Is this any different than what's going on with Kirk Ferentz at Iowa? Is it?
I mean, not on the same scale, but kind of. Like,
none of those teams have maxed out. They win 7 or 8 games every year. The fans are frustrated as hell. The style is not great. But what happens? They go 8-4 every year, and they go to the Outback Bowl. Is it really all that different? He built the program. He's been there for a long time. Does a lot of winning.
The scale is different. I think basketball, you do have the opportunity to take that next step forward, though. It's a little easier than doing it in football. So I think it's a really good comparison. I do, because
I think it's similar spots. How many Iowa fans would have run Kirk out of fan last year if you would have surveyed him? Would over 50% have said they wanted him fired? Would have been close. Maybe not 50, but probably 30 or 40% at least.
Maybe if Brian was still the offensive coordinator right now, and
then for sure
limp their way to 8-4 for 2 more years, then I can kind of see that. So
yeah, that's just I think it's not all that dissimilar. A lot of Iowa fans I know are ready for Kirk to be out, and they're ready for him to be done while they only ever go 8-4. All Bill does is make the tournament. It's very similar. Very similar. The one thing I do think, I don't know, you should be able to replace Bill and have success. Doesn't it make you nervous though? Like, what's going on with Tennessee? Hire a really young, promising former player. You're obviously replacing a legend, and it's falling off the rails, man. They're a disaster. And that's like UConn doing that when Geno retires. Like, I know that's probably not going to happen because it's UConn, but we've had a lot of success, and there's absolutely no guarantee that continues with a new hire. So I think I know, Keeney, you probably don't have no time for that argument, and I'm not saying I believe that either, but that is a risk.
It's a great debate. It really is.
Yeah,
because there's really strong points to be made on both sides. I understand the frustration, because I'm frustrated too. I think that a program that has the type of talent that we've had on the roster and has the type of fan support that we have should have been able to make a breakthrough at some point in the last 4 years. Like, it's a consistent thing with,
and you can't argue with that or debate that. It's happened really 3 or 4 straight years, but the last 2 specifically have been the most egregious.
We're not hitting our ceiling like I feel like we should. And a lot of it is late game execution coaching. We're in these games, and then the offense gets bogged down because we're trying to force feed the ball to one player. So maybe starting from scratch without a a quote unquote star on the roster is what we need. Maybe we just play fast and have a bunch of shooters out there and just play motion offense. And maybe that's the key.
Right.
And
that's worked well.
You might not fly so
right?
close to the sun. You're not going to start next year in the preseason top 25, but maybe that's good enough to get you fifth, the 6th place finish in the Big 12. Maybe you get an 8 seed, and maybe you could pull an upset. Like, I don't know.
Score some goals and beat some, score some goals. Got hockey in the background. Make some threes and beat somebody you shouldn't in the tournament, right? Like, and we've played that way with Bill basically prior to Kirk's being here, right? A lot of spacing, a lot of 3-point shooting, high attempts, high percentage. It's kind of what his teams were known for. What did we always complain about? No physicality, no rebounding, right? That was always the weakness with those teams. So, I agree with you on the performance. If I have one gripe with the situation, it's that, and I like that video Jamie put out. I know we've all made fun of it. That's just a typical AD in the foxhole for a guy that he's not going to fire, who's got a year left on his contract, who is a legend and probably wants to retire on his own terms. Little bit of gaslighting going on from probably both Bill and Jamie's, with the claim that fans are just frustrated about the portal.
Yeah,
that was what Jamie mentioned in the video. Said for all the fans frustrated about having to rebuild a team and everybody leaving in the portal, that's not why we're frustrated. We're frustrated because the last 2 seasons have gone off the rails in the month of February. That is why we're frustrated, right? And I'm frustrated by that too, because it's not fun to watch. So for no one to acknowledge that the ending to these last 2 seasons has gone really poorly, to me just kind of seems like that retreat back to, well, like, we're still a really good program and like, you should just cheer for us. And women's basketball supporters in general are always going to be supportive. I'm a really big women's basketball supporter. Like, I go to a lot of their games, watch on TV, all those things, right? But that seems like we're kind of retreating behind something because we don't want to talk about it, which is that, hey, man, hasn't gone well. Would love somebody to take some ownership of that, whether that's the AD, whether that's the coach, because I think that is the fans' number one concern. It's not even that. I think Bill's totally capable of getting 10 girls in the portal and taking that team to the tournament again. I don't think it can't. I wouldn't be shocked at all. That's not what I'm concerned about, honestly, Keeney, because we'll have to do that again with a new coach next year if he does retire. It's the expectations and then ending the season unranked with 12 losses. It's just not good.
And you've got an AD with a spotty record on women's sports that the things are starting to pile up, and he either has his head in the sand or he's just willingly, putting his foot down and saying, I don't really care. Like, I don't know. It's always funny how Jamie Pollard only has conversations with fans that are like, hey, we're so happy with everything,
I think he is getting older and very opinionated, and he's in charge. So I guess he gets to make that call. I do think
if you don't give him 5 figures every year, your opinion is irrelevant. Like, there's way more of us than there are the big donors. And I guess you got to keep the big donors happy, obviously, but
right.
The fan base is, I think turned against Jamie Pollard at this point, to be completely honest.
It probably
hasn't gone how we've expected it to. We've cut a women's program under some controversy. The women's basketball program, everybody just left. We're going through a coaching change in football. Like, yeah, we lost a bunch of guys because of the coaching change, but the fact is we had a great coach and we couldn't hold on to him. So things are piling up against Jamie a little bit.
They are, but I do think, it's nuanced, man. Like, how isolated and protected from all this stuff have we been for the last 10 years?
Like, it's great that he's gotten us to where we are, but we got to survive and we got to adapt. And Jamie doesn't seem very adaptable. Although, I don't know. I don't know if we're ready to move on to something else. I do want
to. I just think it's funny that, like, people like you, because I think I'm probably more pro Jamie than you are, ready to skewer him for all this stuff, but he gets no credit for hiring Otts, for hiring Campbell in the first place. Like, the reason we've taken so many hits now is because things have reached crazy heights and he protected them for the better part of 15 years. And just now, all of a sudden, something bad happens, really for the first time since Paul Rhodes left. It's been pretty smooth sailing, transitioning from Fred to even Steve Prohm had one really bad season, made the Sweet 16. So we've really had it pretty good. but everyone is frustrated
Um,
with Jamie. So I get it.
Ott's had that pre-existing relationship with him. It's like, yeah, TJ kind of fell into his lap and wound up being a great hire. If you remember, like TJ didn't have a great record at UNLV. He was pretty good at South Dakota State, but like, of course you
Yeah, it
can
was
win in
not
that
going
league when you
well.
have the best player.
Was not going
So
well
I
at
mean, that
UNLV.
was a risky hire, honestly,
Yeah.
bringing TJ in, but it worked out. So like, yeah, I guess Jamie gets credit for that. I don't know. I feel like it's well known. Like, I want Iowa State to thrive in the next era, and if we're not willing to be adaptable, I think you got to be ready to make moves at a moment's notice. And Jamie Pollard is just not willing to do that. He's very
And I
set in
think
his ways. And I think like
yes.
what do you want Iowa State to be? Do you want to be a good athletic program, or do you want to be one that takes the next step forward? I know that we're limited financially, but like, I don't know.
I think setting his
It feels
ways
like
is
there's just levers you can pull to try and keep us at the top of the Big 12.
I think setting his ways is very accurate. And he's old and he's been here a long. Okay, he's not ancient, right? He's done this a long time. That's kind of what happens when you've been here as long as he has. I do think that's where you're going to see David Cook's impact. I think from what we've heard, you've already seen it from an NAL perspective in
Yeah, maybe some new
encouraging
blood in
more
the
over the top
university is a
resources.
great
Yeah.
thing right now.
I
David
think
Cook coming
so.
in is fantastic.
Wendy Winterstein, I think, gave very little direction to Jamie on athletics. In fact, Keeney, she said publicly on multiple occasions that basically, I don't know a ton about athletics, so I trust Jamie. I think she pretty
She
much
was right
gave
to do
him,
that.
yeah, she was. She gave him like 100% autonomy on the athletic side. Um, but that just meant there was no other dissenting opinion. It was whatever Jamie wants to do, Wendy signed off on. And I think a lot of that served as well. But this athletics has changed a ton in the last 3 years. And I think David Cook is just a lot more involved. Not just that he's a fan. I think he just understands athletics a lot better, understands their importance, is willing to help with some of these things where the changes happen the most, like in NIL. Um, so I think that's honestly super encouraging. Whoever the AD is, whether it's Jamie, whether it's successor, like it's good knowing that David Cook is going to push and care about those things. Again, Wendy's approach was just, I'm going to let the AD decide and they're in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jamie
think
having
about
a
it.
boss that doesn't always agree with him is a great thing.
Think about how many other universities have that set up where their chancellor or their president is crazy involved in athletics, like sometimes to a detriment at those schools. But it has not been that way the last 10 years here. So I think that change is going to be good. Again, I think Jamie has done a good job, but I think as the sports changed, it's going to help to have someone like David Cook here. So
let's I got a couple rapid fire things
let's
because
do
we're
it.
kind of come up on an hour here. But like one
Brooklyn
thing that I would
Nets?
say,
Oh.
no, yeah, we're not talking about the Nets. They suck.
That's right.
All right. So one thing that we have seen adaptability. We're hosting more concerts at Jack Trice. Luke Combs this weekend. You're going, right?
I'll be there.
All right. I want to hear kind of just how you're feeling, how you're your excitement level for that.
I'm excited. I know a gazillion people going. Like we're having a party in the neighborhood. I think I literally have like 8 couples that I know that are coming up. Most likely be raining, so not thrilled about that. But hey, throw a poncho on. They'll serve beer. It'll be fine. It was great for George Strait, and George's setup was pretty. How do I want to say this? It's pretty weak. Like the concert was in front of, was in the north end zone, in front of the Bergstrom building, and if you were sitting way in the back, like pretty tough view. I've seen Luke's setup. It's sweet. It's like a 3-side wraparound stage, and it's right in the middle of the turf, like right at the 50-yard line. I think that makes for a way better viewing experience. And I think it'll be a different type of show than George's was. I love George Strait. I'm a huge fan of him.
Luke Combs is a contemporary, very popular artist with
one of the most popular country artists in the world right now. Excuse me. And Dirk Bentley's opening for him. If you're older like me, like I remember when Dirk was making new music back in the mid 2000s. Like that'll be fun. My one thing I want to see, they sold beer at the last one. And they basically had it like in little stands on the side concourse, like in big tanks. And so they didn't serve it through like the permanent concession stands. And the lines were atrocious. I basically missed all of the openers because I was waiting in line for 45 minutes to get like 2 cans of beer. So would love for them to have changed that. I'll be very curious to see how they handle it. Um, I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe it's just more bodies, like some more stands serving. There'll be more people at this concert, so it certainly can't be what they did the last time. I'm willing to give them some grace. That was their first show. I don't think they really knew how exactly it was going to flow. So, but yeah, you've got what Post Malone coming in July. I think the goal is like 8 to 10 a year between Hilton and Jack Trice. Um, on top of that, you've gotten some state tournaments moved back up to Ames that are going to be played in Hilton. So, um, really like this direction. If you're wondering why they're doing it, it's because they can make money doing it. Like they can
Right.
make a couple $1 million hosting this event, and athletics just gets to keep that money. That's why they're doing it.
That's the easy trip up the interstate. So like,
Yeah,
there's just not
and it's
there's just not a
it's a
stadium. There's
stadium.
not a stadium in Des Moines
No,
that's capable of doing that. So
it's a stadium concert, man. Like if I could get an old rock band in there, like throw the Eagles reunion in there, or whoever you want, like do a couple metal bands one night. Like you can attract some different audiences too. And it's a big enough venue. Like I'm not saying Taylor Swift would play it, right? But it holds 65,000+ people. Like people like stadium concerts, and at that size, I think a lot of artists are going to say, "Hell yeah!" Like I can sell 60,000 tickets to this show, not the 15 or 18 I can sell in Des Moines. So,
right. Well, Matt,
anyway,
I want to hear how it goes.
I will give you a full report. We're having a keg, and we rented the Superdog cart. So
Nice.
it'll be quite a pregame tailgate. We'll call it that.
Yeah, it's just too much for us to swing to make it happen. And I'm not even a huge country guy, but like this would have been a fun concert to go to. So,
for sure.
All right, Matt, the Masters is this weekend.
Oh, baby.
A tradition unlike any other.
I love it.
Augusta might break into my basement and kidnap me for saying that without their permission.
Yeah, seriously.
Do you have just any thoughts on the Masters?
Any thoughts? I've got a lot. Like Kevin Hart and Jason Kelsey, get out of here. No one wants you here. Nobody needs you here. Like the Masters is a fairly serious place. They don't like allow phones on the ground, and you bring out these two clowns. We're all sick of Jason Kelsey. Everybody. I think even his wife's sick of him. Actually, I don't know that for a fact. I probably should have said that. And like Kevin Hart, come on. Like go make B movies. Go make B movies
anymore.
No, correct. Like we're all, what are we doing here? Second, I hate the broadcast, how broken up it is. It is atrocious to try to watch this thing. And I know if you've got the Masters app, you can watch it all, but I tried to watch a ton of it on my Masters app today, and all it did was buffer all day long on internet, on cellular, didn't matter. I hate that you got to go back and forth between ESPN Plus and Masters and Peacock. It's crazy. Like, what are we doing? Also, I just despise ESPN having coverage it because I think their golf coverage is terrible. So, got to get the negatives out right away. I'm excited because there's really no overt storyline. I listened to the No Laying Up podcast. And they talked about this. Like, what's the biggest one is either Rory defending or Scotty winning his third, which are cool. But again, the biggest storylines are two past winners. And it's not like it was when you're rooting for Tiger to pick up his fourth when he was on top of the sport. Like, I know they're both big names in golf and they've played well, recently, but I mean, John Rahm has been playing like crap. I think while there's no big storylines, though, it does make it interesting, Keeney, because to me it seems like the door is really wide open. I know a couple guys didn't have great days today, but like Oberg is one that I think has a chance to win it. Like I know he kind of he kind of
he pooped the bed today.
He kind of pooped the bed today. He did, but you see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of guys who haven't won it that because this field is so wide open, I think have a chance. So like I put bets on Fleetwood, Justin Rose, and oh gosh, who's the other one I put a wager on? Cam Young, I think, who also did not have a good day today.
I bet on Cam Young. Yeah. I bet on Xander Schauffele, who had a pretty good day.
He did have a good day. How about Patrick Reed being 3 under? Boy, I would love it if he wins. Everyone hates Patrick Reed, so I think it'd just be hilarious if he won.
just
I
as
also
it
bet on
rests.
Bryson, who everybody hates, probably for good reason too. Like
Yeah, and he didn't have a great day today either.
he had a horrible day today.
It's going to be fun. I placed a bunch of bets on. I like to do people to finish in the top 20 or to make cuts. Um, it's going to be a really weird scoring tournament because, yes, 5 under is the lead today. But as the day went on, people struggled. Those scores were posted early. Like I watched almost all of the morning. Um, by this afternoon, dude, those greens were so firm, and there's no rain in the forecast, and it's been dry. People were struggling. They could not keep the ball on the greens. I was listening to the radio broadcast. They said it's like you don't have a landing spot. You have like a landing spot within a landing spot. Like if you don't hit this bullseye sized area, it might end up all the way off the green in the water, whatever it is, right? Like it's gonna be tough. I don't think there's gonna be crazy high scores this week. I think you'll see it by midday tomorrow that the ball is just going all over the place. So honestly, I'd rather have that than a tournament when everyone finishes 18 to 20 under. I don't know. I'm a sucker for that.
You're rooting for the course.
I am kind of. I'm sorry. I am kind of rooting for the course. It's a great course. It's one of the best ones. I'm just a huge fan of it in general, right? Like the cheap prices for everything, the setting. Like, Keeney, for me, it always means that spring is here when you get the Masters.
This is an event that gets me going, and then I mean, obviously, our weather here has been terrible, so it doesn't feel like spring.
Awful. No.
So
Can we talk about a few people we're rooting for? Like Colin Morikawa is someone that I always want to do well, and I just seems like he's never going to get there. Would love to see him try to do it this week. I mean, is it time to declare Jordan Spieth like dead?
I think that time came like 5 years ago, to be honest.
A long time,
So
yeah.
He's he's hit that stage where like he's the sentimental favorite because we just want to see if he still got it in the tank.
We're not sure that he does. Yeah. I don't like Justin Rose because he's foreign, and I just in general don't root for foreign golfers. No offense.
Okay.
But he's been so close to this tournament so many freaking times, man. I would actually love to see him break through. That's why I bet on him, just because I can root for him. Like, how many second place finishes can a guy endure? Hanging out, waiting to get to a playoff. Like, I think he's a pretty likable guy. I don't think anyone hates Justin Rose. I would be fine seeing him win. Same with Victor Hovland. Again, foreign guy, but Vic seems like he's pretty likable. He's got a girlfriend now. He's not single for the first time ever. So shout out to him. Those are a couple guys I'm just kind of cheering for.
I mean, I'm cheering for the guys that bet on, but like,
yeah, fair. Yeah, it's understood.
So big Xander guy this weekend apparently because
big Xander guy
bet on that played well today. So anyway, Masters, that's an event that gets me going. Just something I really enjoy. So I'll be watching that weekend as much as I can.
There's a couple of younger golfers. Just keep an eye on. You're gonna. If you look at the leaderboard right now and you're like, I don't know any of these people. Just brace yourself because I think you're going to see a bunch of debutantes and some new faces or some guys who's maybe played this. This is their second time playing the course. I think you're going to see a lot more of those names and you're going to see familiar faces on the leaderboard. Just my hunch. So
yeah. Let's see what else. We hit some baseball. Early optimism for the Twins, Cubs. Things are looking bleak.
Yeah.
We got NBA playoffs, got NHL playoffs coming up. We'll get a chance to talk about those before they really get going in earnest. But fun time of year. Fun time of year for a sports fan. Obviously, we're kind of bummed that the Iowa State cycle is pretty much complete. We'll see who we get in the portal. Spring football. Does spring football do anything for you?
I did go through and look at every single player on the roster the other day just for fun. There's more returners than I thought. There were some guys, Keeney, that just didn't announce that they were coming back, and they just never posted anything. So I mean, they just kind of just stayed. There was never a public decision. So more familiar faces, I think, especially on the defense, right? There's a legitimate number of guys back on that defense, almost a starting unit, actually. Offense, dude, the offensive line is going to be hilarious because we basically won't know who any of them are other than Barrett. Running back, I didn't know anybody who played running back. I knew a few of the transfer receivers, and then Overby stayed. I remembered him, but I don't know who's playing running back. Tight ends are all transfers, other than Keaton Roscup, which I do like him a lot. Pay attention to spring ball. That's all I can say. Maybe even go to that spring game, the little practice they're doing. You're gonna have to get to know these players, man. There's 80 new of them. So
I was also thinking about just doing like a football blackout until July and just trying
that's
to
maybe not a bad idea. And just
pick it all up then.
hey, you know what? This first season, dude, we're just figuring out what the coaching. I mean, it's total unknown. We have no idea what the defense is going to look like. I think if you went back and grinded Washington State tape, you probably could figure that out. But like, we just get to go into this.
It doesn't help for podcasting purposes. Although
No.
I think since we have some freedom, maybe we try and get somebody from the program to hop on a podcast with us. You know,
Well, I through something work wise, I think I'm actually going to be able to attend a practice here on the 21st. So while I'm lurking around the facility, Keeney, I'll see if I can make a connection for the Litecast. How's that sound?
the Litecast. Come
That's
on
right.
my podcast is probably
Come
the
on my
best way
podcast.
that you can convince somebody to buy
That's right.
seeds.
The old big cat method, just tweeting at him. Come on my podcast. Care to discuss?
Yeah. But hey, man, summer will be fun. I want to do some fun stuff this summer. I want to try
It'll
to
be
find
fun.
some guests. I want to talk about some maybe off the wall stuff. So we'll get into it.
We should do a show. We're going to have to do a show incoming, and do a live show from the distillery. I think that'd be great.
If they're willing to host us, that would be fantastic.
I think they are. I was trying to think of a way to phrase that without like making an overt dirty joke with the name of that beautiful Iowa town. And do a little sampling of some of the product. I would love that.
I would love that too.
There's some fun stuff coming up on CF After Dark in the off season. There's some drafts we're going to start doing here this week.
First one tonight, by the way. First one on, it was, I guess you're listening to this on Friday, but it happened on Thursday night. I was on it.
Yep.
I didn't win, but I didn't lose.
Hey, that's all you can ask for, man. Those will be really fun. I think we've kicked around the idea of some trivia. So there'll be some really good stuff coming from us this offseason.
Yep. Matt, you know what I want to do this weekend? You know what I've been wanting to do for a couple of weeks, but the weather hasn't cooperated?
What's that?
I'm going to build my garden.
Ooh, it's about time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's garden season too. Garden podcast.
We've got seeds. Nothing's planted. Can do lawn and garden pod show. I'd love it.
I've got dirt because dirt was on sale this week, but I need to get lumber so I can actually put planter beds together.
Lowe's has a sale
and
on
make
mulch.
Sure my tiller still runs.
Jerome Tiller, quarterback converted to wide receiver. Yeah, Lowe's had a sale on mulch. I think 5 for $10. Not a sponsor. Could be. I'd take the free mulch. Wide right. No, the Lowe's cast. So the wide right was the wide right netty light cast, but the CF After Dark. There's no way to loop an L in there, but we could just be the Lowe's cast. Yeah, title name sponsorship from Lowe's. How about that? The Lowe's
cast presented by Lowe's. Yeah.
Or the light cast presented by Lowe's. I like that. Yeah.
All right, we'll try it, man.
Home Depot has 24 hours to respond. Home Depot, if you're listening.
Menards Garden Center.
I don't really go to Menards for garden center stuff. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I should.
I go there because they're close. I live right near the Altoona Walmart. So
yeah.
I guess the Walmart and the Menards are by each other, but yeah, I live close to there. So I just like walking through there and just kind of seeing what I can get. So anyway,
the Lowe's in Altoona is not only in like an out of the way spot, but it's like a nightmare to get in and out of there. It's clearly like an old one, and everything kind of developed around it. Not in a good spot. Menards would be much better. I think it just cost us a lot. I think it just cost us the Lowe's part.
You want to sponsor us? Yeah. All right.
We still love you. Matt, we still love you, Lowe's, despite the Altoona location. Okay. We're really into it, man. Last breaking update, I put it on Twitter. There's a family of like 8 foxes living under my neighbor's garden shed. Maybe I'll try to snap some pictures for the next Litecast. Very adorable. I think they have seven babies. They look like kittens. They just play all day long. It's very distracting to my kids, people who drive by, just passersby in general. We had like a wildlife photographer sit in our driveway for a couple hours earlier this week to take pictures. It's you don't see like a family of 8 foxes running around a very urban neighborhood all that often. So it's been a big development in our neighborhood.
Stay tuned for
That's right.
breaking updates. All right. Matt, this was a lot of fun. Glad we could do this. Late week, get you into the weekend. Yeah. I'm going to set an outro video. Nope, I'm not going to set an outro video. because I don't need to play the whole 45-second opening again.
Mm.
All right. Podcast done.
Done.